Young Thug and his lawyers are demanding a release date as it would be announced 2 years ago today. Young Thug was arrested for RICO charges and he's been in jail ever since. Now, the YSL RICO trial is a complete disaster. Currently, the prosecutors want to use serious evidence against Young Thug that relates to a tour bus incident featuring Lil Wayne, as even the judge called out Lil Wayne that he needs to come to court if the prosecutors want to be able to use the evidence. As a report goes and shares, Lil Wayne might be called to testify in Young Thug's ongoing YSL RICO trial about his 2015 tour bus incident.
Themselves, and since there's no confrontation as to it.
It's not testimonial, Judge. There's not a confrontation issue when it's not testimonial. And I know that the court is aware that the rules of evidence are inclusive rules, and I wanted to be able
I know what the purpose of the federal rules of evidence, or the state rules of evidence are, which we pattern. Right. So please don't be condescending to me, Ms. Lowe. No. I rule upon the rules of evidence every single day. I get some of them right, some of them wrong, and that's the purpose. But I understand the object of the rules of evidence is to allow for most evidence to be admitted. However, it's got to be relevant and it's got to be for a particular purpose. Now, I'm telling you, if you get Mr. Carter in here, then you'll solve a number of your problems.
As the judge is telling the prosecutors that they need Lil Wayne to testify and to confirm that the evidence is true. The prosecutors claim that Young Thug created a hit out on Lil Wayne's tour bus in 2015. Young Thug was in jail at the time and he ordered the hit through a jail phone. The prosecutors would even go out to bring the tour bus driver onto the stand in court. It would be reported a tour bus operator for Lil Wayne got emotional while recalling moments on the bus in 2015. The operator said that he retired following the incident, and the rapper Young Thug is being sued by the witness and is facing RICO charges in the case.
Tell the jurors what happened once you got on 285.
Once I got on 285, within minutes, that's when the car came along and started at the bus.
Are you able to discern where the shots are coming from? Does it come from the front of the bus, the back of the bus, or somewhere else?
They started at the back of the bus. They shot my engine, shot my radiator, and just started all down the side of the bus.
And at the time, you said did you have those passengers? Were those passengers that came out of the club, were they still on your bus as this bus is being up?
Yeah, they were back there screaming on the floor.
You said they were what?
Back there screaming on the floor.
Making the question of the hour being, is Lil Wayne gonna show up to court to testify against Young Thug to confirm that the evidence was real? If Lil Wayne does not testify, online lawyers have predicted Young Thug's release date, as the prosecutors really have no evidence against Young Thug. To understand when the release date is, we first need to see the prosecutors have a meltdown inside of court. It would be announced an ex-investigator with the Atlanta Police Department took the stand under cross-examination on Monday in the YSL RICO trial. During one moment, the former investigator, Lakia, got into a brief exchange with defense attorney Max.
And D'Angelo White's response was, we had, correct?
Yes, he did say that, and it was more to that as well.
We had guns and
yes, he stated that.
Okay. We, being plural, correct? Correct?
Are you insulting my intelligence by asking if we means plural? I think you are, though.
Okay.
I think you are.
All right, well,
sir, don't do that. Don't do that.
All right, sir, let's be respectful to our witness, okay?
I'm being very respectful, Judge, and I always will.
I doubt it.
Shortly after, Young Thug and his main lawyer accidentally dropped the hardest photo of 2024, according to members on Twitter. Now, Young Thug's legal team is consistently arguing with the Atlanta police that are trying to lie about evidence on Young Thug. Even Young Thug's main lawyer would put his entire career on the line, calling out the Atlanta Police Department for lying about evidence on Young Thug. Young Thug's attorney Brian Steele would say, "As my eyes roll, I'm about to show you why I don't believe the City of Atlanta Police Department."
I have
No recording of whom?
Detective Lewis at the hospital, Grady Hospital, September 11, 2013, meets with Walter Murphy. And Your Honor, as my eyes roll out of my head, I'm about to show you why I do not believe the City of Atlanta Police Department at all. This is served in discovery. I will mark it, Mr. Williams, C and D. And then you tell me if I'm supposed to believe the allegations from the state of Georgia.
As the entire courtroom would begin to get heated and start arguing back and forth, the judge would first call out Young Thug's attorney for stating that the Atlanta Police Department lies about evidence, as this entire deal could actually affect Brian Steele's career in the long term for calling out a whole police department for lying.
Well, not conceding that?
Well, I'm going to tell you that I haven't heard anything that would indicate that's truth.
Yeah, well,
you have a good faith basis to ask that.
You haven't heard anything of who he spoke with. That's my point.
That's the point.
But you all can't. But you two, neither one of you can proffer that.
Judge.
It's not proper, Mr. Steele.
No. Listen.
It's not. It would be a violation before me for you to put that in front of this jury.
In the September 17, 2000.
You are saying to the court that you have a belief that there is another statement out there. There's not.
How could you say that?
Because it hasn't been brought up. If it gets brought up, then we'll correct it at that point in time. But right now, I'm going to direct you not to inquire that line. You don't have a basis to do so.
As the evidence that they are discussing is based around a man named Adrian Bean, the Atlanta police are trying to use evidence against Young Thug that Adrian told them in 2013. Adrian, now in 2024, says he doesn't remember giving them the evidence over a decade ago. The original report goes and reads, unlike Trontavious Stevens, Adrian Bean is not bound by a plea deal. He was a part of a 2013 crime where 4 people were involved, but 1 escaped and was never caught. They need Adrian to snitch on Young Thug on the stand, like he did with the police in 2013, but now he refuses. As Adrian Bean did originally snitch on Young Thug over a decade ago. Trying to avoid jail time, he ended up snitching on multiple YSL members, including Young Thug. But because the police took over a decade to include this crime into the YSL RICO trial, Adrian has now forgot about the crime.
After you answer the question, which you have to do.
Because I don't remember nothing that happened in 2013. That's what I'm trying to explain to you.
I understand. What I have to do is ask you some questions and determine what you do and don't remember. So, what is your response as to whether or not you recognize the images shown in Defendant's Exhibit number 8?
I don't remember.
All right. And I'm going to show you Defendant's Exhibit number 81. Do you recognize what's shown there?
No, ma'am.
All right. What about number 101 for Defendant Exhibits?
You see a car, but I don't remember it.
Okay, that's fine. Is your answer the same for Defendant's Exhibit number 82, number 89, and Defendant's Exhibit 90?
Yes, ma'am.
As lots can happen within 11 years, the crime did occur in 2013. Some YSL members could have paid Adrian off to not snitch on Young Thug, but others believe that he actually did forget about the crime, as Adrian would go on to get pretty emotional on the stand, explaining that for over the last decade, he's been in and out of jail, as well as having issues with narcotics.
I really don't have any knowledge about 2013, ma'am. That's what I'm trying to get you to understand. I don't really have any knowledge about 2013. Once I went to prison and came home from prison and done my time, everything that happened in 2013 or whatever has been put behind me and set forth. So I've been, working and just doing my thing since I came home from prison. I don't have no knowledge of nothing that happened 10 years ago.
However, all of this is gonna lead to Young Thug getting released soon for one specific reason, and allow me to explain. Not only are the prosecutors running out of evidence to use against Young Thug, but the prosecutors are also trying to use evidence that they are not allowed to use. It all began with the judge screaming at the prosecutors for not doing their job correctly. As it was reported, the judge in Young Thug's trial was just arguing with the state because they were unprepared with evidence.
That's too late. The evidence is excluded. The evidence is excluded. I'm going to exclude because I told you that this was going to happen. No. We're excluding that. This is the last. I am not going to tolerate this any further. If you don't get together with your colleagues and flag issues and resolve them promptly, and if I have to take them up, remember, I can exclude them. We'll work the weekends, or we'll do a combination of both. So this time, I'm going to exclude
I'm going to exclude those two sections.
There's nothing in
I'm not going to have any more discussion about this, madam. I'm not.
Talk to them this morning
I don't.
about that.
Well, you know what?
And I attempted to try to talk to them earlier this week.
Well, then that's why we have to.
Congress of the court punishes the state because the defense.
I'm not punishing anybody.
As even right before this, the prosecutors even did something they weren't even allowed to do inside of court, as it would be reported that Young Thug and his defense team's reaction to the DA asking a witness, "Are you afraid of Jeffrey Williams?"
You said you now know who Jeffrey Williams is. Are you afraid of Jeffrey Williams?
No, I know who he is.
Hold on, madam. Hold on. All right.
Which obviously you are not allowed to do this to a witness on the stand asking a question of that nature. This would then lead into a report of, and I quote, "Expect Young Thug's legal team to push for a mistrial. The rapper's lawyers have clearly won over the jury while the prosecutor has provided little to zero evidence, as the jury has loved all of the actions made by Thug's lawyer." Brian Steele even made Young Thug cry inside of court when Brian said that he would put his entire life on the line for his client, Young Thug.
I mean, I'm not saying anything, but if true, that's a pretty serious accusation.
If true, I'll right now. How about that, Judge Glanville?
Your Honor, I object to this.
I don't care about her objection. I'm speaking with the
Your
court.
Honor, I object.
I'm
I'd like to
speaking
level
with
an
the court.
objection.
Okay.
I'm speaking with the court.
Let him finish, and then you can state your.
My point is,
As this isn't the only remarkable thing that Brian Steele has done inside of court, he's also put his entire career on the line, as he would go head to head with the judge, as he believes that the court system is treating Young Thug unfairly. It would be announced Young Thug's lawyer is fed up, and he calls the judge biased in the case against either him or his client.
want to move the case, but when the court, it gives me no pleasure in saying this. I believe that this honorable court is biased against Mr. Williams and or his counsel, and I ask you to consider recusing yourself, or don't do this again to me. This is inappropriate to me. I respect you, but what am I supposed to do? Sit there while you do this? I didn't do anything wrong. I did exactly what you teach me to do and the courts teach me to do.
All right.
But instead, no, I got to finish this. Then I get told to this court says by Prosecutor Love that I'm not being candid with the court and I'm misrepresenting because Mr. Bean never went to the hospital at Grady on September 11, 2013, and Miss Love has a document on her desk to prove it.
Doing something of this nature inside of a court case, especially a RICO case, is something you never see. Young Thug's lawyer isn't afraid, and he's putting his entire career on the line. Young Thug's lawyer knows that Young Thug will be getting released soon, as the only evidence they truly have against Young Thug of any crime, as he has even proved it by calling out the lead investigator at 10 years that is going against YSL. He would call out the lead investigator for not even Googling any sort of evidence that relates to Young Thug.
Did you hear that, Detective?
Yeah, I did.
Okay. Now, when you gave your testimony yesterday about you've never heard anyone describe slime in the way you just heard on Mr. Williams number 142, did you ever do a Google search?
No, I did not.
Did you know that question was coming?
No, sir.
You had no idea that the state was going to ask you that question?
No, I thought you meant your question.
No. Yesterday on direct exam, you knew that question was coming, right?
I did. I knew the state was going to ask me what slime meant, yes.
And did you do anything in preparation to say, I want to make sure my testimony is accurate?
I did.
But you never bothered to Google music?
As it's very clear nobody in the police are even taking the entire trial serious. Thug's lawyer even had a hunch the guy wasn't investigating anything over the last decade, so he would even go on to expose the investigators' lack of research.
Okay. Now, I'm assuming, I don't want to assume, you went through that entire Tumblr account to educate yourself for your testimony for the jurors, am I correct?
No, sir. This is the only post from this Tumblr account that I've reviewed.
You didn't look at all of Mr. Williams' Tumblr account?
No, sir.
How did you know to review this one picture?
Well, when the state asked me to review these particular tweets, this is one that was linked within one of the tweets I was asked to review. and I was asked to review this post from that link.
You weren't curious to know what else is on that Tumblr account?
I was not, no.
Well, since you come back, I'm inviting you to look at it if you want to. But every one of those posts has to do with music. Do you realize that?
Objection and hearsay.
It's not hearsay.
Causing Brian Steele to stand on business, telling the lead investigator to go home, go do more research about Young Thug and YSL, and then come back with an answer, as Brian Steele has the defense to any sort of evidence that these guys might have.
Do you know, as you sit here, what all the other Tumblr posts deal with?
Objection.
Basis.
It would be speculation because he said he has not.
I sustain the objection.
You do me a favor. If you come back, which I'll call you if you need, I want you to review all that Tumblr, okay?
Sure.
Account. And then you tell the jurors everything else that's on that Tumblr account, okay?
Sure.
And tell them if it has anything other than music-oriented promotion, okay?
Well, I would say even this photo has more than just music promotion.
That's great.
As this lead investigator has been investigating YSL for over a decade, he's only provided 2 pieces of evidence, with both pieces of evidence not really mattering in any sort of way, as he would first go on to expose that Lil Wayne has the same affiliation to the same street team as Young Thug.
And are you familiar with who this individual is?
I am.
And who is that?
It's Dwayne Carter.
Okay. And does he have another name that he goes by?
He does.
And what is that?
Lil Wayne.
And are you aware, through any of your non-trained experience, if Mr. Carter, Dwayne Carter, self-identifies as a member of?
I believe that he does.
Okay. Tell the jury if you need to stand with the stick and point to what those identifiers are within Defense Exhibit 31.
There's a large MOB across his chest, often used particularly by West Coast, but is used across the country. He has 5 red 5-point stars across his chest.
As the investigator is trying to prove to the jury that rappers do have street affiliations, but he would also go on to mention that YNW Melly could be involved in the same street team as YSL of Young Thug.
Same thing, the use of the slap term, 5-point star, snake. He's saying he's YSL, he's saying he's Young Thug, and he puts up his YNW for life hashtag on it with the 5-point star as well. Mr. Demons has the big B hand signs displayed.
Okay, and see with individuals again, I'm assuming that's also Young Thug. That's also unknown.
Yes.
Also important to your investigation, correct?
Yes.
Also publicly available for anyone to see and capture.